Hi everyone, and welcome to the Leo March 2022 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. So Leos, welcome. My name is Lauren. To any of those of you who are new to this channel, this reading is meant to help you find the meaning in the challenge or challenges you are currently experiencing. And this is also that you can better answer that, why am I being asked to face this challenge, and what am I going to learn about myself? What am I going to better be able to see about my unique path and purpose, and the spiritual importance that I am meant to unlock and share and engage with the external environment so that I can be of service to the greater collective experience. All right, so Leo, we're going to first pull some cards to take a look at your internal, that's a few too many there, internal energy for the month of March. So what are you working with personally? Oh goodness, okay. And then we're going to pull some cards to take a look at what's going on in your external environment. And then we're going to see kind of what is the why between why you're being asked to engage this internal energy with your external environment and what you're meant to learn about yourself through doing this. Okay, oh, very interesting. All right, so Leo, we have, in your internal environment, we have the Lovers, the Devil, and the Ten of Cups. Very interesting, because the Devil and the Lovers are basically the same card. If you notice, the image is very similar, except one has an angelic being between the two, and the other has the Devil, or what kind of looks like a scary or imposing being in between the two. Now here, the couple are free. Here, the couple are loosely chained to something that the creature is sitting on top of. And they're both break down to the number 6. So the Lovers is the number 6. The Devil is the number 15, which in numerology further breaks down 5 plus 1 to 6. So these are kind of like two halves of the same coin. Now, this can be where we take love and, for instance, the Devil could be a codependent relationship. That's kind of the flip side to a beautiful partnership between two people. Or this can be where we follow something that we love, and then this is where we end up kind of being chained to something that we love, where maybe when we followed our hearts at one point, now we feel like we have to stay stuck or chained to that. This would be like not wanting to leave a bad marriage because you feel that you committed to it and so you got to stick it out, kind of thing. Or this would be like starting a business that you no longer care for because at one point you had been passionate about something, but now it's not something that fits into your lifestyle, but you keep yourself loosely chained to it. And the illusion with the Devil is that they are chained, when in reality you can see that, and I know it's very difficult with these tiny cards, but the chains are loose. They can take them off and leave. They're choosing to stay. So there's something around you kind of facing this energy inside, of kind of understanding the beneficial quality of love and kind of the codependent or kind of darker aspect of love, which is, because I chose it, I have to stay tied to it. And with the Ten of Cups coming in, the Ten of Cups is a beautiful energy. It's actually one of my favorite cards in the tarot. It's a card that really speaks to us being able to experience on an emotional level our ultimate heart's fulfillment. This is when we get a chance to feel what it would feel like to experience our version of heaven on earth. It's also known as the happy family card, or just in general, it's that, again, feeling of almost like bliss. And I get this feeling here as I'm looking at all of this, that the reason why you're kind of taking a look and internally kind of combing through what is love healthy and what is love in an unhealthy way, it's because you're being faced with this Ten of Cups. You're being faced with feeling into, well, what is that for me? What is that for me? And how perhaps maybe am I holding myself back from being able to experience this? Really lean into that feeling of what I want for myself on a heart fulfillment level, on an emotionally fulfilling level. Because in your external environment, we have the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords are the wounds that we carry with us from moments in our life that we either went through and something didn't quite work out correctly, or these can be wounds where, let's say, we had a parental figure who told us that we weren't quite good enough in a specific area, or we had a partner who told us that we weren't lovable because of X, Y, and Z, or we failed at our first business, and so now we carry with us the wound mentally of kind of that shadow of the past of, well, I'm a failure in business. And this is what you're being asked to engage with, being asked to really take a look and engage kind of openly with that heartache, with the things that kind of keep stabbing you mentally every time you want to move forward, that kind of bring you back to that place of you're not good enough. You can't do it. You tried, but you failed. And really allowing you to get out. And, you know, when I look at this kind of out here in your external environment, it's almost like having a wound and opening it up to the air to let it fully heal. To be able to say, okay, I see it for what it is. I know I can heal it. And why are you being asked to kind of take this energy of kind of looking at where you might be codependent, the past issues that you might have kind of held yourself back in because of, it's in the energy of love. Thinking, well, because I love this person, or because I love this job, or because I love doing X, Y, and Z. And where have you prevented yourself from actually experiencing the Ten of Cups? And pulling that forward into really kind of airing out your wounds openly and allowing them to heal. Because the why here, why you're going through this whole process right now, is to better be able to find your support system. I like the Three of Cups in this setting because it shows that you are able to bring your cup and celebrate it with others who are there to celebrate with you. They are your equals. They are your tribe, so to speak. And there's something around, I think, some wounding of the past where maybe you felt like you couldn't quite be yourself. Or maybe you tried, and that's where the wounding comes from because you were ostracized, or you were pushed out of a group, or you never felt like you quite fit in. Or you perhaps were trying to go towards something and you felt that there was nothing for you to celebrate with others. That maybe you were always internally kind of going through some aspect of trauma around love and also kind of believing in the Ten of Cups for yourself. And that now you're being asked to understand that this is for everybody. And what's interesting actually is that Scorpio had a similar kind of message too, to like remember that the more we open ourselves up and are vulnerable, the more we attract the right people to ourselves. And there's something kind of around that here, Leo, with this as well, that by facing the wounds of the past and really engaging with them, you know, this would almost be like where maybe you've felt for quite some time that, again, you are hung up on something that somebody has told you at some point where you weren't good enough. You can't do this. Or a relationship where you were told that you weren't lovable, or where you felt like you wasted too much time doing something. So this is almost like facing that head on and pulling that sword out of your heart to say, I'm going to fully remember what that felt like for that when that person told me I wasn't good enough, and I'm going to just lean into it, feel the pain, rip that sword out, and allow that wound to heal. And then go again and rip out the next one. And it's almost like sometimes when we do that, we have to go through that cathartic point in our life where we are reliving the pain to almost jumpstart our emotional core. To feel that kind of, it's almost like when people need to go and have that cathartic cry, where they need to get back in touch. And even though it seems like, God, why would you want to cry and feel that pain again? It's because it allows you to get back in touch with your emotional core, so that in feeling intense grief or pain, we also can then understand what intense love and joy can feel like as well. We kind of, again, get that heart going again. We get our emotions going again. And we clear out and allow to heal. We get rid of the swords. We get rid of the heaviness, those things that keep stabbing us, and we make way for us to be able to connect with this, with the Ten of Cups. And ultimately, when we do that, we're then healed to be able to go out and be a healthy, emotionally strong version of ourselves. And that's what allows us to attract emotionally strong, stable people to our lives as well. Okay, so Leo, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull some cards here. Well, I guess he's popped right out, so I'll use them. So we have the Moon, we have the Ten of Swords. So we're taking a look right now at your blocks. So I'm going to kind of push these cards over here to make room. Actually, let's go up here. Kind of look at the blocks. What's going on? Why are you having kind of a hard time releasing these wounds from the past? Okay, we got the King of Pentacles. We have the Two of Wands. Right off the bat, I'm just going to say there's something around feeling perhaps like you couldn't provide for yourself or another. There's something coming through here very much around that, material-wise. All right, so we have the Seven of Cups as your final challenge. So we have, as your main point of challenge, we have the Moon. So the Moon is it's a card that can denote a lack of clarity. It's a card that asks us to walk a path on faith because we can't see clearly. Now, where this can become a kind of challenge point is when we don't want to brave going out into the moonlight, so to speak, because of that lack of clarity, because of that lack of kind of understanding where we're going. And it can hold us back. You know, there's this element of kind of accepting in life that we can never know everything, that there are going to be times when we have to kind of just on faith continue to move forward, continue to take those little action steps every day. And that feeling is coming through very strongly here. Because right after the Moon, we have the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is one of kind of the ultimate being at your lowest point. This is when you've been stabbed in the back. It's overkill. This is that feeling of overkill. I have gone to my lowest point. I can't possibly go any lower. But the beautiful aspect of the Ten of Swords is that this is that lowest point. This is like when you look back after going through a very traumatic experience and you're able to see how far you've come since being at that lowest point. And there's something about here, Leo, about kind of really recognizing that for yourself. Because when you look at the Three of Swords, this is taking it to the ultimate, the penultimate level, where you've taken all of these swords in your heart and you carried them with you. And something happens where it's like finally like the last straw. The beautiful thing of this, though, is that it truly represents that. It's the closing of a cycle. You literally cannot be any lower than this point. And so there's only up to go from here. And with the Ten of Swords, the beautiful aspect of it is that he is able to stand up, shake off the excess swords, and have his one sword of truth to start the next cycle. With the truth of understanding, I overcame this. I could take all of these swords and I can now move freely, understanding what I'm capable of. So there's something around here of needing to kind of go out into the unknown with that understanding of I did get to my lowest point. I did go through a time of deep hurt or pain or grief where I didn't really know from that point forward what was going to happen. I just was at my lowest point and I kind of just had to keep going. And now it's reminding you that you're kind of at that point again, not because you're at your lowest point, but because you are being asked again to take action, to continue to move forward, to start to allow yourself to lean into the Ten of Cups. And at the heart of your reading, you have the King of Pentacles, which is, this is what Spirit's asking you to embrace, to take a look at, to really understand, to help you move through this whole, I feel like very strongly, a healing process. The King of Pentacles is a card that denotes kind of mastering, being able to be that provider, being someone who knows what their time and energy is worth, how to produce results in the physical world. It is someone who truly can create abundance easily for themselves. It's also a sign, a card that harnesses the energy of Taurus. So Taurus, the motto for Taurus is I value. So this is a card of understanding that you've mastered what you value and what your own value is. And there's something around maybe some wounding in the past around self-value. And maybe that's because of what happened in the past. Maybe somebody hurt you and made you feel like your value was less than. Or maybe you felt like you valued the wrong thing and now you're realizing that things have changed and now you value something different. And I really feel like what Spirit's trying to tell you here is to really take a look at your own value and what you value, and to understand and repair perhaps a false belief that you cannot provide for yourself, a false belief that you cannot do for yourself, that you cannot create abundance in the physical. And that could be tied directly to a moment where you were at that lowest point, where you literally maybe had to rely on others because you did not have the ability to do this. This can be where we are, left with no money after a divorce, or we, get fired from a job that was everything for us, or you name it. There are so many ways where we can go through a kind of down and out period. But the beautiful aspect now is that I have a feeling you are very far from that point, because again, this is in the past, this 10 of Swords. So this is a reminder now of how much that has changed, how far you have come. Because on the other side, we have the Two of Wands and the Seven of Cups as your final challenge. And the Two of Wands is where you are sitting with making a decision. This is where you know that there needs to be action taken from kind of understanding, okay, well, where do I go from here? What choice do I make? And I was speaking, I think it was Aries that got a similar message, and I was speaking to them about the Two of Wands really speaks to making that choice. Where do I go from here? But it's not really like, do I choose this path or this path? It's the understanding that we are always on our path. The path that we start when we come into this existence, this experience, and the path that ultimately leads us to our highest potential if we choose to go that far down the path. But what this choice is, this choice denotes that at a certain point along your path, you got kind of stuck. You kind of made that choice to stay, and it could be because you were chained to something, because of this codependency that I think was kind of coming through. Whether you were chained to a job, whether you were chained to a passion, whether you were chained to another person, and you got stuck. And at this point now, it's time to move forward. It's time to make that choice. And it's time for you to really understand your own self-worth and value, and to know that you have the power now to wield that. Because on the final challenge here is the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is a card of choices. It's a card of where we're kind of looking around, saying, like, it's almost like looking outside of ourselves and saying, oh my gosh, there's so many options for emotional fulfillment. Maybe this will make me happy, or that will make me happy, or that could make me happy. And it's realizing that this is an illusion. What makes us happy is our cup. And we each have an Ace of Cups, a cup that we are given between us and the divine that overflows with unconditional love for us as a unique soul. And from that, we bring that cup to every experience. We fill our 10 cups from our cup. The 10 cups cannot exist outside of ourselves, meaning it's not like we can just walk outside, open the door, of our apartment or our house or wherever, and all of a sudden just kind of fall into heaven on earth. We have to create that from what we feel from the love that we have for living our life with others, for the joy and understanding of what we take true pleasure in. And that's how we create the 10 of Cups. And I think right now what you're kind of sitting with is that decision of kind of analyzing all of the cups externally to you right now, all of the options, and realizing this, sitting with Spirit and allowing Spirit to guide you kind of back to your own cup, back to what fills your cup, and to release the illusion that there's something out there that's going to fulfill you, and realizing, no, you have the power to do that. And once you realize that, that's what you bring to the situation. You turn the 3 of Swords into the 3 of Cups. And I think this is the biggest lesson here, is realizing that you can take what might have been one of your darkest points and turn it into one of your brightest success stories, and understand that when we clear those wounds of the past, we make room for what is meant to come in on a healthy level, a heart-centered, support-based place, that we are no longer being stabbed and kind of bleeding. We are now healed and whole and attracting others who are the same. And we get to bring our cup with them, and we can all share. The beautiful aspect of each one of us having a unique experience, of like a heaven on earth experience, is that those experiences can overlap. Just because our experience or our perception of what we would love to have and what would make us feel heart fulfilled is different than somebody else's perception, doesn't mean that they can't somehow overlap and align, and that you can share in the joy of experiencing someone else's version as well. This can look like 2 people living in the same household who, even though they each are sharing the same experience, so to speak, the same physical experience, one person may be getting a different type of emotional fulfillment from that experience than the other. Maybe one person loves to be in the home and they love to decorate and cook and do all of the nurturing aspects of actually the kind of physical environment of the home. And maybe the other person loves the feeling of stability that they have. They love the feeling of knowing, I was the one that was able to save the money to purchase this home and create this lifestyle. They take great pride in that. And so their experience of what they're getting on it from a kind of heaven-based experience on earth is very different, even though they're sharing it with another. But that doesn't mean that the 2 people can't come together and elevate each other's experiences in a shared experience. I know this seems a little out there, Leo, but I'm hoping the message is coming through, that there's this feeling of facing the unknown, to go out now with the knowledge of just what you're capable of and the value that you have, and make that choice to move forward with understanding that it's what emotionally fulfills you that allows you to create this for yourself. And that will be enough to allow the wounds of the past to be washed away, so that you can welcome in this newfound support system, that you can go out and celebrate with others as yourself, not as somebody who's trying to hide or take action from a place of wanting to maybe hide these wounds, or take action from a place of, I don't want to do that because of a hurt from the past. Instead, you just move forward with being who you are, authentically, without somebody else's voice in your head. All right, so Leo, I'm going to go ahead now and pull 3 final cards here for the concept of curiosity, courage, and contemplation, where we're going to take what is a very general message and pull it down into more of an individualized experience for you by engaging the Triad of Engagement. And this is a coaching tool I utilize to help people engage their internal, unique, authentic self with their external environment. Oh, beautiful. So Leo, you have a cornucopia with the number 11, master number 11. and rest and rejuvenation with number 19, which breaks down to a 10, further breaking down to a 1. So there's all kinds of ones coming through here, fresh beginnings. And with cornucopia, I mean, this card is just, it's lovely. It's abundance. And it's abundance when we think about the number 11, this is when we get to walk through that portal. This is almost like walking through the portal between what is and what can be turned into the 10 of Cups, what can be seen as your ultimate heart's fulfillment. And it's when we get to step between step between both of those things through the door of spirit. I love this. So when we're thinking of curiosity, we're going to be building in a question for you to be asking yourself throughout the month of March to bring an awareness to some aspect of your experience. Now with cornucopia and rest and rejuvenation, there's a feeling here of coming back to self and with abundance coming through. You know, the King of Pentacles, actually the original Rider-Waite tarot depiction of the King of Pentacles is very much like this cornucopia here, where it's a king sitting and literally everything's kind of growing up around him. And it's that feeling of understanding now kind of what you're truly capable of. With the rest and rejuvenation, there's this feeling of deep healing coming in and kind of coming forward as a refreshed version of yourself. So the question I would ask is really, where are you holding yourself back from recognizing how far you've come, recognizing how much you've healed from the 10 of Swords? It's almost like, to a certain extent, you've healed 7 of those swords. There's still 3 in there that it's time for them to be removed and those healed, and it will close that cycle that you're coming from. So it's about really taking a look at where are you not allowing yourself to be fully healed to allow yourself to step into this abundance that's waiting for you. What are those 3 last swords left over from this lowest point in your life? And that's really going to answer for you, you know, where that healing needs to take place. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull a card for the concept of courage, and this is going to be where Spirit would like you to have the courage to take action for the month of March. What to keep in mind as you're maybe kind of shying away from taking those more difficult action steps, what you need to keep in mind to give you that courage to go ahead and do them. All right, so Leo, let's see what. Oh, beautiful. Surrender to creativity. It says, let your imagination soar. Stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or solve a problem. And I think that that's a really beautiful reminder for when you're taking action this month. Because when you think about the 10 of Cups, I love how it says, you know, stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or solve a problem. You know, there may be this feeling here of, maybe you do know what your 10 of Cups is, and you are thinking about it now, but you feel like at this point in making a decision to move forward, maybe you don't see how it's even possible to get there. You don't see how it, and so you're kind of stuck in this holding pattern between, you know, sort of healing and still carrying wounds. And what this is saying is surrender to your own creativity, Leo. You know, you actually are a sign that is incredibly creative. You're a sign that harnesses the energy of the sun, which is actually, you know, the seat of what allows us to create all of life here on Earth. But there's also the feeling that comes through of you being able to harness the power of just creativity in general. And that's actually why you're also associated with the child as an astrological sign, because again, there's this element of creation. And I think what you're kind of being asked to do is, as you're looking to have the courage to start to move on and start to heal, that maybe you still feel trapped. You know, maybe you're starting to move on and you still feel like you're held back by something and you don't quite see a way forward, or you're held back even on an emotional level. And this is to say, you know, get up into that feeling of when you're talking about heaven on earth. Well, let your imagination go to that ultimate place for yourself. Let your imagination come in and maybe pull some things together to show you a slightly different or even elevated version of what you want. Because the more that we are open to, this could kind of be like where maybe we had a past version of what we wanted for ourselves, that ultimate vision. And now you're a different person. You went through something very traumatic. Something's changed. You now understand what you're capable of. You understand your own value. You understand what you now value in this moment. And so perhaps this version of the Ten of Cups might be an outdated version. And it's time for you to kind of surrender to your creativity and say, I may feel like taking action here, but I don't quite see how I can do it. And this is where you kind of just need to let go and let those aha moments come in. Or if you do see a creative way around, to follow that really is going to be kind of your breadcrumbing this March. Is if you can't quite see where to take action, you don't quite know what are those next steps because the way is murky. It's about allowing your mind to kind of go to that beautiful place of, well, let's just see what comes in. And, when you're thinking about kind of walking through the moonlight, it's really not going to be the best if you are looking ahead and you're not looking kind of down at your feet, because you are going to be tripping on things that you can't see. It's better to kind of just keep your eyes on the ground and have, again, kind of walk on faith. With each step I take that I know I can kind of see, I know I'm safe, I know I'm good, I know I'm moving forward. And it's almost like that. It's allowing yourself to realize, to come down into that one step at a time and let your imagination point out to you kind of where to go, where to put your foot down each time. And that's really going to allow you to kind of start this process of moving forward. It's going to show you the process of breaking these chains and allowing you to see the wounds that need to be healed, and then allowing you probably that at a certain point when you finally pick your head up, you're going to realize, oh my gosh, I'm already here with my friends and family and support. It's almost, I get this feeling kind of being led out of the darkness this month, Leo. And it doesn't mean that all of you have been going through darkness, but it's almost like, I think on some emotional way internally, you felt a little lost. Maybe you felt like you weren't connecting to a passion, or you felt like you weren't connecting to a dream. And you're being shown this month that the reason why you've had a hard time connecting to that is because there's still a few wounds that have to be healed. And then after that, you just get to be the happy, healthy heart Care Bear that you're meant to be. All right, so for the final point of contemplation, this is what Spirit would like you to reflect on for the month of March to kind of hold you steady as you move forward. We have Council of Light. It says divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. Beautiful. So this really lines up with kind of what I was seeing here, that there's this element of kind of walking a path on faith, keeping your head down to see what you can see and allow your imagination. But I think more than anything, creativity really is the divine inspiration. This is where I feel like the divine kind of whispers in our ear when we're listening. We're not always listening. So this is a month of kind of getting to that point of keep your head down, walk that path on faith, and allow Spirit to whisper in your ear. Allow that muse to kind of come in and say, no, step to the right a little more. Okay, now step to the left. Okay, now go over that rock. And there are those helpers kind of coming through. There is divine orchestration at play. That's why you're being asked right now to kind of make that choice to move forward and to get reconnected to what's in your cup, so to speak. What really fills your cup? What makes you feel loved? And what can you share through love with others so that you can start to fill out, you can start to pour out of that never-ending cup of divine love and create your 10 of Cups. All right, Leo, I hope you have found this illuminating. If you would like to illuminate your own personal spiritual importance and to see how it can be of service to yourself and others, you can click on the link in the description box below to book a personal reading or a one-on-one coaching session. Otherwise, I will see you all in April for the next illumination reading. And if I don't see you until then, I hope you have a wonderful month full of healing, emotional connection, and I think recognition of just how strong and abundant you truly are. All right, Leo, have a great March. Bye.